आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव।
Azadi ka Safar with AIR News. Birth of a Nation. India's glorious freedom struggle is one of the greatest movements the modern world has ever witnessed. AIR News brings you a glimpse of the struggle every day.
The day of 2nd September holds great significance in Indian freedom struggle, as on this day in 1946, the Interim Government of India was formed from the newly elected Constituent Assembly of India. It was for the first time since the coming of British that the Government of India was in Indian hands, and this government had the task of assisting the transition of British India to independence. Originally, the government was headed by the Viceroy of India, but later it was transformed into a council of ministers with the powers of a prime minister bestowed on the vice president of the council. This position was held by Jawaharlal Nehru. Vallabhbhai Patel held the portfolios of Home Affairs and Information and Broadcasting. The interim government remained in place until 15th of August 1947, the date of the independence of India.
New Delhi. And although the scene looks quiet enough, there was naturally tense excitement when members of India's interim government, under the leadership of Mr. Nehru, went to the Viceroy's house. They were received by Lord Wavell, who was to administer the oaths of allegiance, of office and of secrecy, whereby Indian affairs passed into the care of an all-Indian cabinet.
The elections for the Constituent Assembly were not direct elections, as the members were elected from each of the provincial legislative assembly.
Although India remained under the sovereignty of the United Kingdom until August 1947, the interim government proceeded to establish diplomatic relations with other countries, including the United States of America. The Constituent Assembly, from which the interim government was drawn, also began the task of drafting the constitution for independent India.
Today, we also pay tributes to the transnational Indian revolutionary Virendranath Chattopadhyay, who left us on this day in 1937. He was brother of the famous freedom fighter Sarojini Naidu and renowned Bengali poet and musician Harindranath Chattopadhyay. During the first decades of the 20th century, he carried out anti-imperial and anti-colonial campaign outside India, first in Europe and then in North America. Virendranath studied in Madras and Calcutta before joining Oxford University in 1902. Like other nationalist Indian students in England, he joined India House, London. During his years in England, Chattopadhyay established intensive contacts with revolutionary circles in Europe. With the outbreak of the First World War, Berlin became a hub for Indian revolutionary exiles. Virendranath became a leading figure within the Indian Independence Committee, founded in Berlin in September 1914.
The committee carried out campaign in and outside India among Indian soldiers and also engaged in military action and weapons training. After the First World War, Chattopadhyay founded the Indian Information Bureau in Berlin to help improve Indian-German relations. He also became active in the League Against Imperialism and spent the last years of his life in the Soviet Union. During the period of Stalin's repressions, he was accused of espionage and shot to death in 1937, having spent most of his life in exile in search of an ideology to build a future world. We salute his indomitable spirit and love for motherland. That brings us to the end of this episode of Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. See you in next episode tomorrow.